How long can you last in a space the size of a washing machine drum? 15 minutes? An hour? 2 hours? What if you were upside down? What if you were stuck and every second could be your last? The hero of today's story found himself exactly in this kind of situation. He couldn't get out of this position for whole 27 hours. The Jon Jones story will make you rethink the meaning of fear and courage. In this video, you will know about what drives extreme cavers to go to such dangerous places knowing they may not return. What is it like to be stuck head down 98 feet underground? Why couldn't even 100 rescuers pull Jon out of the trap? How did the hook that was supposed to save a life cause an even greater tragedy? What makes a person's heart stop from being in uncomfortable position? How did the cave become Jon Jones' final resting place, and why was his body never retrieved?
– 2009, America, the city of Spanish Fork in the state of Utah. Jon Jones, a 26-year-old medic, a family man, a diligent father with a pregnant wife and a child, decided to engage in cave tourism. And I'm not talking about cave tourism in the sense of people going into a cave as a group and looking at all this. No, we are talking about extreme cave tourism, when a person squeezes through the most inaccessible caves. For Jon, it wasn't new. His father did this and got his two sons involved. Jon was 4 years old when he first engaged in this tourism. Nutty Putty Cave, located near Spanish Fork, Utah, was first explored in 1960. It quickly became well known for its narrow and slippery passages and turns. Different parts of the cave got creepy names: the Crow, the Aorta, the Squat Sphere, the Birth Canal, and the Ed's Push. The total length of Nutty Putty is 413 meters, and it became a favorite place for extreme cavers. But what drives people to go to such dangerous places? Many cavers are attracted by the opportunity to discover new knowledge about geology, biology, paleontology, and other scientific fields. Cavers can contain unique minerals, rare forms of life, and even fossils found nowhere else. For others, caves provide unique and challenging conditions for physical activity. Descending on ropes, caving through narrow passages, and overcoming water obstacles require good physical fitness and the ability to overcome one's fears. Others are attracted by the opportunity to explore uncharted territories. Caves are often some of the last unexplored places on Earth, and caving provides an opportunity to delve into an unknown. It's a challenge, adrenaline, the desire to test your limits and see places where no human has set foot. One of these brave souls was Jon Jones. Jon has been fascinated by caving since childhood, following his father's example. At the age of 4, Jon first climbed into a cave. In November 2009, Jon, along with his younger brother Josh, decided to explore the Nutty Putty Cave. On November 24th, they entered the cave. The cavers gradually moved deeper, but at some point, they decided to split up. About an hour after the start of the expedition, Jon discovered a narrow cave he mistook for the Birth Canal. The birth canal led down to the so-called edge bush. John began to crawl further and, without realizing it, moved past the birth canal and squeezed into the edge bush. John found himself in a narrow slot, measuring 10 to 17 inches. Like a washing machine drum, considering it's not a perfect circle. It turned out he was stuck in this space head down, which made breathing difficult. At first, John didn't believe he was stuck and thought it was some kind of cruel joke. But quickly realizing he couldn't get out, he immediately began calling his brother to help. In such a position, the diaphragm experiences additional pressure, complicating the breathing process and potentially leading to hypoxia, lack of oxygen. It also leads to increased blood pressure in the brain, which can cause headaches, retinal hemorrhages, or even brain hemorrhages. Moreover, the heart has a harder time pumping blood from the lower body back to the head, which can cause circulation problems and even venous congestion. This is what happened to our hero. Trapped in an upside-down position over 98 feet underground and deep inside the cave, John could only wait and pray. George, finally hearing his brother's cries, quickly crawled to him and heard from John that he was stuck. George thought it was another prank by his brother and started pulling him out. He thought it would be easy, and at first it seemed to be working, and John felt like he was almost out. But suddenly, due to loose soil, John slid even deeper and got stuck even worse. Then Josh realized how serious it was. He got out as quickly as he could and immediately called for help. The rescue team arrived fairly quickly. Finding John in the maze of the cave was not easy though. By the time rescuers made contact with John inside the cave, it's been already about 3 hours. The doctor on their team reported that the human body can last in such a position for about 5-6 hours, which meant John had about 2-3 hours left. The rescuers immediately began trying to free him. Generally, rescuing a person with a team of 100 rescuers is not difficult, you might think. Yes, but only if there is a space next to the trapped person for the rescuers to work, or at least if the person is not upside down. In our situation, everything was against the rescuers. There was no space to drill or somehow free up space next to John at all. The rescuers could barely see John's legs. Moreover, John was upside down. And top it off, the cave turned sharply to the left above John's legs, which means there was almost no space to pull him out. But rescuers always cling to that almost. They decided to use a system of ropes and pulleys securing the ties with bolts. But even with this system, pulling John out was incredibly difficult. Why do you think? It's because we must not forget that we are 98 feet deep where it is very humid, meaning the cave walls were not strong enough to secure the ropes. And as I mentioned earlier, there was not enough space for the rescuers to work, to pull John out. But the rescuers did not give up. They managed to secure the pulleys and run ropes right up to John's legs. The rescuers had been working for over 19 hours, trying to pull John up. They even managed to see his face, give him water and food. It seemed that salvation was near as they managed to establish a strong rope system capable of pulling John out. Everyone felt a bit relieved because John was about to be saved, but no, it wasn't so easy. The mount turned out to be not strong enough, and suddenly one of the hooks next to the rescuer near John broke off, hitting the rescuer in the face. And John slid again, this time seemingly even deeper. John fell into an even narrower slot. The rescuers realized that now it was impossible to pull him out. As soon as they started pulling him by the legs, John began to scream in agony because it hurt him excessively. His legs almost broke. John remained trapped for 27 hours. The rescuers established radio communication with John, which allowed his family to talk to him. And then his wife said she was pregnant and that John would be a father for a second time. John was stunned. He didn't know whether to rejoice or despair, but Josh immediately encouraged his brother and distracted him with other topics. John told his brother about his plans for life. They prayed together and sang songs together. But unfortunately, John's heart couldn't take it and he died. Hanging upside down for a long time is dangerous for the body. It leads to blood accumulation in the lungs and head, making breathing difficult and increasing the strain on the heart, which caused the heart of our tragic hero to stop after 27 hours. Rescuers could not retrieve John's body even after his death, as it was too dangerous for rescuers themselves. With the consent of his relatives, the cave was sealed with concrete, leaving John's body inside. Now this cave has become his own grave. John Jones was a passionate caver, and his hobby led him to the Nutty Putty Cave. Unfortunately, it was his last expedition. Let this story be a lesson for all of us. We must remember that adventures and explorations of uncharted places require not only bravery, but also common sense, preparation, and respect for the forces of nature. Let's be careful and attentive in our quest for new discoveries, always remembering safety.